So, you want to be in a relationship, or you're about to be in a relationship, or you just stumbled across this video by accident. Whatever the reason, you were meant to see this video. I'm your basic average girl, and I'm here to save the world. Just kidding. Hi everyone, so I'm Jenny. You probably don't know me, but if you do, welcome back. So whether you're new to the relationship community, or you've been in a few but you still need a few tips on where to start for this particular one that you're about to be in, whatever your situation is, we're all here for a reason. And if you want to know some things that you should do before getting into a relationship, stay tuned, because I will reveal everything. Now mind you, little disclaimer, I'm not a relationship counselor, I'm not a certified therapist, anything. But I have some experience under my belt, so do with that information what you will. If you want to stick around, hear what I have to say, take little bits and pieces, whatever you want to do. This is things that you should do before getting into a relationship. Let's start. I have my notes right here in my phone, so I don't exactly know what I'm saying. So I have everything organized, so I'm definitely gonna be knowing what I'm talking about, okay? So the first thing I definitely want to talk about is know the person well enough. So in other words, know what you're getting into, okay? And this might be obvious, this might be self-explanatory, if you will. If you don't know the person well enough, you might want to be asking these sort of questions. Get to know their negative traits. Do they have anger issues? Do they have anxiety? Whatever, what have you. Do they overthink? Do they tend to run away? Okay, you need to know these things. Ask those questions. And if they're not self-aware, that's another thing. That's another red flag. I feel like, sometimes you don't get your answers by asking directly. So definitely observe the person. And this is an example. So let's say you think you know the person well enough and you decide to go on a date with them. Mind you, in this scenario, they're your ride. And let's say that place was a movie theater out of town. All of the people you know are in your town or city, whatever, and you're far away from people you know. You're just going with this person in particular because you think you can trust them. They get angry. You get into an argument of some kind. It doesn't matter if you meant to get into an argument or not. They just got angry. And surprise, surprise, you learn that they have anger issues. Now, this could either go one or two ways. You decide to dip, or they dip, or they leave. But in this scenario, they left. They were your ride. You're at the movie theater. You don't know anyone in this city, this town, because you're out of town. You've never been here. Whatever. So you're stuck there. And all of this could have been avoided if you knew that person, you knew their negative traits, you knew they got angry. Also, definitely want to elaborate on the negative traits thing. Another question that you have to ask yourself, can you handle their negative traits? Like, are you willing to deal with that? Like, let's say one day you decide to get married, one day you decide to move in together. Or you're spending a lot of time together, right? Because that's what people in relationships typically do, spend time together. So you definitely need to ask yourself, can I handle these negative things? Can I handle him yelling at me or her yelling at me all the time? Like whenever we're hanging out? Definitely ask yourself that question. And are you willing to compromise if they don't meet some of your expectations? Because believe it or not, we all have our idea of the perfect person, the perfect match we think is good for us. But we are, secretly deep down, if you don't think you're doing this, you probably are. You had your idea of maybe a rich man, You know what I mean? Let's say you had that idea in your head, you wanted someone stable or more successful. Then you meet this person and you really, really like them. But then if you really think about it, are they rich? Are they successful in that way that you wanted your ideal partner to be? Probably not. Or, you know, it's another trait. But we all do that. So those are some things to ask yourself. And if you're asking, what should I do if they don't meet my expectations and I can't handle their negative traits? It's pretty simple. If you answer no to, are you willing to compromise? Can you handle them? Then you should leave, okay? Sometimes you don't need to explain. You know, if it makes you uncomfortable, just leave. You know, and especially if they put you in that position that you don't want to upset them, just leave. You just weren't for me. That's it. That's all the explanation you need. Although we would like an explanation, but we understand that we don't have to give it. The second thing that you should totally do, I stand by all of these, okay, babes? I do. The second thing is you should definitely discuss your hopes and dreams for the future. Make sure they align and they're supportive of any goals you want to accomplish. Now let's say your partner and you have differing goals, you know? That's totally fine, you know? You don't want to do the same things. That's understandable. But what's not understandable and what's not going to be tolerated is being unsupportive. Okay? Because that's just not it. Generally, we want partners that'll be supportive of everything that we do. You know, even like if it's bad, then no. But like, let's say your dreams are just like, they're good. Let's say you want to run a 1K and you're like,
babe, I really want to run this 1K.
You know what I mean? And then they're like,
why would you want to do that? That's silly. That's stupid. You're being dumb. You can never do it.
You know what I mean? Stuff like that. It's like, that's pretty obvious that you shouldn't be with that person if they're not supportive of that. You know? But sometimes, in some situations, it'll be less obvious. We sometimes won't have a partner that'll be like openly expressing their unsupportiveness and their objectiveness, you know what I mean? Objections. Sometimes it'll be in their expressions when you're talking to them. Or maybe their actions. Maybe if you tell them that you're going to do it, let's say you did decide to go run that 1K. You tell him to go, because it's obvious he should go, you know, to support you. And what does he do? He doesn't go. Now, okay, we all understand that maybe that one time that he was like, oh, I had something come up. Maybe something did come up, okay? That's understandable that one time, whatever. But if you see it's a pattern, like the second time he does it again, all right, man, like that's it. That's it. You're clearly not supportive. These are these signs that you just need to go right off the bat if someone doesn't support you, because you do deserve that support. And if you're not getting it, no. We won't tolerate that. You're not going to tolerate that. If I catch you, I'm gonna knock some sense into you. The next thing that I advise you to do is pray about it. You can pray to whatever, like whatever you believe in, but for me, I believe in God, and praying really, it gives you a peace of mind, and it's like, you know that he's got you. It's like, even if it turns out bad, it's all a lesson. You know, I believe everything happens for a reason, and if you're not for me, you're a lesson for me. That's really what I believe. So, and that being said, I do want to say, don't go into a relationship with a failing mindset, because if you feel like it's gonna fail, 9 times out of 10 it's gonna fail, because you manifested that. Our minds, if we think we're not doing good, like, you know, the relationship isn't doing well, it's gonna portray in our lives because we're thinking that. And that's that manifesting mindset. So you really want to go in with, I want to say, your heart open, your mind open, but also go into everything with a positive mindset, but be aware that things are going south, okay? And be okay with things going south, if that makes sense. It's okay to feel, and it's okay to be heartbroken, but we also need to be aware that that's a possibility, you know, and we need to be able to say, all right, F you then. But don't say that, but like, you know, be mature about it and just come to a common ground and be like, this isn't for us, you know. But at the end of the day, we need to just say F you and just leave, you know. It's pretty simple when you say it. It's not as simple as when it comes into play, because it is difficult. The last thing that you should know what you want in a partner beforehand. Before stepping into a relationship, I feel like it's essential to know what you want, or at least have an idea of what you want. You know, you don't really necessarily have to have this whole list of things that you want, or like this whole list of attributes, traits, you know what I mean, but like the essential traits that you won't look over, you know. If you're not respectful, go find someone else. Another important thing is to set your boundaries. Set clear boundaries and take them seriously. Because if you don't take your boundaries seriously and you don't enforce them, they're not going to take you seriously. So it's like you're not taking yourself seriously because you're not enforcing them and being like assertive. You know what I mean? If you don't want to be touched somewhere, or if you don't want this before this, you know, that's that again, compromise. But if it's something that is really important to you, talk it out and do set those boundaries. And that's another thing before your relationship, because if you get into a relationship and you didn't discuss that, it's more like
Why you didn't tell me?
you know what I mean? And it's like you got into a relationship pointlessly. So I definitely recommend setting your boundaries and letting them know what you want or what you won't tolerate before. So they're like,
So we got into this like pointlessly because I want this and you don't want it.
this is something that should be talked about before. I do want to say it's fine. Like, you're testing the waters. You don't know what you want. That's fine, you know? Have fun, you know? Your first relationship, it's like, meh. Because 9 times out of 10, it's not. It's not going to be the person that you end up with in the future. But it does happen. I'm not saying it doesn't. Your first relationship is pretty much nothing. You learn together. That's understandable. You both are going to learn and grow together. And if you do make it out of that, you know, like that phase, you learned, and you still want to be with each other, then props to you. Like, get married. Great. That's your high school sweetheart. And whatever. You know what I mean? I'm not salty. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. So, like, it's fine if you're testing the waters, but at least have an idea of what you want, of what you just won't take. For me, something that I just won't take is someone that's unrespectful. Unrespectful. Literally, there's a word for that. Sorry. Someone that's disrespectful. You know what I mean? If you don't show me the respect that I deserve, then that's it. It's honestly off-putting to me. Like, it's not like one of those, what do people call it? Like, it's a turn off. That's one thing that I just, off with their head, bye, you know? One thing that you say to me and it's disrespectful, we're done. I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna say F you and leave, okay? Thank you for your time, but not really, because you suck. So a rule that I would like to set, that I would recommend to follow, if you will, is set clear and act. And what I mean by this, it's like a rule for setting boundaries. Now, the first thing you should do for set is obviously set the boundary. Set the boundaries. Don't be negotiable when it comes to these, especially if they make you uncomfortable when they break them, you know, and when they don't follow those boundaries. Set the boundary first. Make it clear. Talk to them about it. Make them aware before your relationship what you just won't tolerate. Something you know, just, it won't be looked over. There's nothing you can do that'll make me rethink this, because I deserve to feel comfortable in our relationship. And if you break that, the next thing is act on it. So let's say they're not respected. Let's say he was like,
oh, I forgot.
okay, I understand people do forget. Like everything, I feel like you should just give one chance, you know, and if it's genuine, like if you feel like they're just like, nah, they did that on purpose, you know, and it's actually in there that it's nagging you, that wasn't genuine, you didn't forget, then leave, okay? But if you feel like he was genuinely like apologizing, he genuinely felt terrible for it, that he forgot that was your boundary and he made you uncomfortable, then give him another chance. Give them another chance. Sorry, I made this like but this video is for everybody, but I'm just talking in my perspective to like the ladies here, but like it's for everybody. Everything I feel like is the first time it's forgivable unless you feel like they genuinely just don't care about your boundary, or they don't care that they did it, what have you. But if they do care, you know, it's like, oh, I'm sorry, whatever, I'm sorry I made you feel uncomfortable, because I genuinely mean it. I mean that from my soul, from my heart, you know what I mean? And they look apologetic. They look genuine when they apologize and stuff. And they try to make it up to you, right? Or they try to beg for your forgiveness over and over and over again. All right, that's forgivable, and that's worth another chance. But if they do it again, I feel like that's just, no. Don't do it again. You know, I feel like if you do it, you're gonna learn. You're gonna want to learn and remember, because you care about that person, you know, and you don't want them to feel uncomfortable at the end of the day. And I feel like you remember every little thing about someone in a relationship, and to not remember something so big is like, no. Okay guys, so those are my tips for before getting into a relationship. If you guys want more tips like these, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Comment what tip resonated with you the most, or which one you agree with, which one you don't agree with. I'll see y'all in my next video. Before I leave you guys, I do want to say that I have my own website where I sell my ebooks for relationship advice and whatnot. I have one for pre-sale, which is for this video, in book form. And if you wanted to support me and view the books that I haven't made videos about, which I haven't released them on that yet, if you want to go visit the website will be not here. It's not here. Why am I doing this? So if you want to visit the website, my website will be in the description, in my link tree. Definitely go show your support, follow my socials, and subscribe to this YouTube channel, of course. For more tips and other videos, I do vlogs. I do a little bit of everything on here. So anyways, thank you for your time, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.